Hello, Math 130 students. We are going to pick up on page 10, which is going to be section 3.5, linear inequalities and system of linear inequalities in two variables. So here, whenever we're graphing a linear inequality with an x and y, what we want to make sure that we do is that we shade in the right direction. So for example, let's pretend, or actually not pretend, but let's look at number 1. For number 1, I see this as an equal sign. So I know that this is going to be an equation. And the type of equation that it's going to be is going to be a line. It's linear because I have a degree 1 on the x and the y. So my goal is to get the y by itself. So I have a negative 6x plus 2y is equal to 4. So I am going to add 6x to both sides. So I can get 2y is equal to a 6x plus 4. From there, I'm going to divide everything by 2. So that y is equal to a 3x plus 2. So now I know that my y-intercept is 0, 2. And I know that my slope is going to be a 3 over 1. So that's up 3 to the right 1. Or down 3 to the left 1. So the y-intercept, 0, 2, is going to be my first point. I'm going to go up 3 and to the right 1. Or I can go down 3 and to the left 1. And so that's going to be my linear equation. So hopefully that was a quick little review of how to graph a line. We've done this before, so that shouldn't be anything new. Now, the new part. This is now going to depend on my inequality. So if I have this greater than, then my line is going to be dashed. If I have this that is less than, and again my line is going to be dashed. If I have this, it's greater than or equal, so it's going to be a solid line that's less than or equal to, then it's also going to be a solid line. So here I can see that my y-intercept is going to be 0, 1. So that is going to be my first point. My slope is equal to a 3 over 1. So that's going to be up 3 to the right 1. Or I could have gone down 3 to the left 1. And since my line here is or equal to, right? It's less than or equal to. That means I'm going to have a solid line. Now, which direction to shade? Well, since this is a less than or equal to, then that means I'm going to shade everything below the y-intercept. So if I'm shading everything below the y-intercept, here's the y-intercept, so everything below it is here. So this is me shading. Okay, well, I hope that makes sense. Now let's look at number 3. So for number 3, I have my y-intercept at 0, 1. My slope is a negative 7 over 3, so I'm going to go down 7 and to the right 3, or up 7 and to the left 3. So I'm going to go down 7 and to the right 3, or up 7 So here, again, this inequality, it's greater than or equal to, so it's solid. And since it's greater than or equal to, then I'm going to shade above the y-intercept. So here's my solid line. And since I'm going to be shading above the y-intercept, well, here's the y-intercept, so everything above it would be this way. So this is me shading. Now for number 4, we just have to work a little bit to get the y by itself, and that's okay. So I'm going to add 5x to both sides. So now I have a 3y is less than or equal to a positive 5x minus 12. And then I'm going to be dividing by 3. So that y is less than or equal to a 5/3 x minus 4. So here my y-intercept is a negative 4. I'm going to go up 5 and over 3. I also could have gone down 5 and over 3. And here is going to be a solid line. And since it's less than or equal, then that means I'm going to be shading below the y-intercept. So here's the y-intercept, so everything below it is here. And so that's going to be my answer for number 4. Now for number 5, I want to get the y by itself, so I'm going to add x to both sides. So I have 2y is greater than a positive x minus 2. From there, I'm going to divide every single piece by 2. So that y is going to be greater than a 1/2 x minus 1. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 1, and my slope is 1/2. So that means I'm going to go up 1 and to the right 2. And looking at my inequality, right? This inequality tells me that it looks like this. So this is greater than. And since there's no line underneath it, then I know it's going to be dashed. And here I'm going to be shading above the y-intercept. So this is my y-intercept, then above is over here. And that's me shading. Now for number 6, same thing. I need to get the y isolated. So I'm going to add 3x to both sides. So that way I can have 3y is less than a positive 3x minus 6. Now I'm going to divide each piece by 3 so that y is less than a 1x minus 2. So my y-intercept is 0, negative 2, and my slope is 1 over 1, so I can go up 1 to the right 1. It's also the same as going down 1, left 1. And here, my inequality, the way that it's facing, it's less than. So I know it's going to be a dashed line. And since it's less than, I know I'm going to be shading below. And of course, you want to think about it as you're shading below the y-intercept. So since my y-intercept is here, everything below that is here. So that's how I'm going to be shading. Okay, and that is the end of section 3.5. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email me or contact the Math Success Center. Thank you.